I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, April the 30th, brought to you in part by ProBac Vaccines by VITALIX. This year, set your calves up for better success by strengthening your vaccine protocol with a ProBac vaccine. Other killed vaccines don't even come close. Also proudly made in the USA. For more information, go to buymetabiologicals.com. Only in a Salebarn. I've been saying that several times here as we've been going up through this rally, but I can't strengthen it enough. Where would we be in this market on feeder cattle and calves if we didn't have sale barns? Would we be within $200, $100? Would it be that close? I don't know. I just don't know who would have the gall to ask what these cattle will bring in the country, or any kind of a private treaty setup there. There's just no way that you would be getting anywhere close, and I don't think your sale barns are getting enough credit for it. Tell you what, some guys just hate to pay commission, and they miss out on everything. But you know, your sale barns, you know, they offer a lot. They give you a nice check that's good that you don't have to worry about. And then they give you, the merchandising, the marketing, getting the cattle sorted up, bunched up in good bunches there. Give you the scales to put them on. They give you the auctioneer and the excitement, the confusion and the speed that helps you get everything that you want there. And they bring in all the buyers. They bring that crowd to you and bring that atmosphere to you. You just can't get it anywhere else. And the commission is cheap, guys. We got another all-time high. Of course, we've been getting them every day for the past probably 2 or 3 months. We've been getting all-time highs. It's never happened before. But this one's going to stick a while. I don't see this one getting broken for a little bit, and it may be one that we tell our grandkids about. I mean, this thing is high. We got an all-time record high. What did we have to have for that? Well, we needed a sale barn market to do that. Well, luckily, Kurt Sporleader and his wife Heather have a good sale barn there in Unionville, Missouri, north central Missouri. They work at it. They advertise with us here once a week. They do a good job. They know what they're doing. They got good buyers in there, and so they've got a good market for it. You've got to have really good cattle, and we had the rockin' R cattle in there. A lot of people call them the smoking R's because they sell so well. Jeff Robinson puts those deals together and backgrounds them. Doesn't hide it. They're backgrounded cattle. But he does it in a way that he doesn't burn them up. He's been taking them to Unionville. He's set up his reputation. He continuously brings them in there. The buyers know the cattle are going to be there when they're there. They know how the cattle are going to feed because most all the buyers in there have had them one time or another, and they keep trying to buy them, so they know that the cattle perform. So you've got the good cattle in there. You've got to have a good auctioneer. They had Neil Bray in there for the special sales where they have good runs of feeder cattle. He knows what's going on. He runs a sale barn of his own out there in Mankato, Kansas. So he's got the speed, excitement, and confusion that it takes to get a good sale going on there. Then you got to have the buyers. And Unionville has always had really good buyers. They've got good orders. Farmer feeder orders all the way over into Illinois and all the way over into Nebraska there, and going straight north up into Iowa. Lots of good orders there. And so you've got the setup for something really, really good to happen. And in a perfect world where the stars line up, especially when you get some new blood in there, something magical can happen. And it happened on Tuesday at Unionville Livestock Market there in Unionville, Missouri. But you had some new blood in there. You had an individual that come in there and he was wanting to buy some cattle, hadn't been there buying cattle, didn't have a seat, hadn't earned his seat in there. opted not to get an order buyer to do it, wanted to do it himself. He needed to buy some cattle, a couple loads of top quality feeder cattle there to do some research there up at Iowa State University. And so he comes in there. Well, I don't have to tell the rest of you what happened, but it got kind of wild in there. They had 5 loads of cattle in there from the Rock and R outfit there in Lucerne, Missouri, and the first load sold at what you would consider an extreme high for the way the market's been here for the last week or two. The next load got a little bit higher, and then the next 2 loads reached a level that we have not even seen or thought about here up before that. But the cattle, the 2 loads that bring the most, they weighed over 8.5. One load weighed 857, and I think the other load weighed 866. And they bring $3.30 a pound, people, with speed, excitement, and confusion. With a Salebarn there, probably had some cigarette smoke and greasy cheeseburger smell going in there, along with the manure. You had camaraderie, you had competition, you had people in there watching what was going on. You had new blood in there. You had your existing buyers in there that felt like they had earned their seat. It's a wonderful thing, and people have been doing it for centuries and centuries and centuries. And we don't have to have some type of an alternative marketing agreement to reach unreachable price levels. You don't have to have that. We've got it. We've got our Salebarns. They're always going to be around. They're getting bigger. People are building bigger and fancier and better Salebarns all the time. Joplin Regional Stockyards is the biggest Cadillac of a Salebarn I've ever seen. And Jackie just put a new addition on. Probably, I don't know what it cost, but it would probably pushed what the original stockyard cost him, because everything's gone up so much. Well, people are doing that because it's working, guys. And people keep bringing cattle to the sale barn, and they especially take cattle to the sale barn when the market is really, really shitty or it's really, really good. And so a higher percentage of them will come there. When the market is just kind of at a standstill, well, you can get close to the market in the country or something like that. But you've got to have sale barns when people are unsure what the market is really that exact day. But I heard here, and it really frustrates me when I hear some people say, and it's usually somebody that doesn't know anything about what's going on, similar to the way this one was. A guy was saying, well, I breed my pet Herefords to a Wagyu cross bull, and I get these cattle, and I don't even have to take my calves to the sale barn. I got a guy who gives me a big premium. Really? How would you know where to start? What do you know about a premium? Where's the base price at? I think a lot of that with these guys that are trying to sell fat cattle in the country. And they're always talking about, I plussed the market, I did this, I did that. How the hell would you know what the base price is if you didn't have people haggling on the cattle? If you didn't have somebody establishing a market, finding price discovery, and something that's transparent where we can see. You just can't do it. And I just can't stress enough how important that is when you're trying to sell cattle, and it's the only way to do it. You've got to have competition, guys. You absolutely got to. But even with those cattle bringing $330, weighing over 8.5, that's not $3,000 for feeder cattle like we had a week ago. And dang, if Beaver County Stockyards didn't do it again this past Tuesday. They got $3,000 for feeder cattle again. And I was talking to my friend Lane Conkle there with Beaver County Stockyards, and he wasn't quite satisfied with a week ago. He said I want some cattle that weigh 12, and I said, I think that bunch weighed 1195, and he said, no, they didn't weigh 12. I want them to weigh 12. And I told you yesterday when I was talking about their consignment, they were going to have some big feeder cattle right off of the wheat there, some of them weighing up to 12. Well, they did have a load of them that weighed 12 this time, and they brought over 250, bring $3,000 again. So he was tickled, and that's just unbelievable how they do that. But it's just wet this spring in cattle country. I know there's some destructive storms. I know there's some hail out there and this and that, but we're getting moisture. And you've seen what it's done to the hard red winter wheat this week already, backing up quite a bit on the market for it. But I tell you what, everybody's in a pretty good shape. And they had storms on Tuesday in North Texas up there, and then that big graze out wheat country there around Seymour and around. Had some big storms up there. I think Benjamin was where I saw a video where it was really blowing but really raining too. Southwest Missouri had big rains again. Of course, they had high winds with it too. But I know it's stormy around, but man, we've got to have this moisture this time of year, and we are indeed getting it. But you know, the packers just continue to cut the slaughter rates, and we're going to have a really tight slaughter this time. Of course, it's well advertised that the carcasses are so much bigger than they used to be, but we've been doing that for over a year now, so the carcasses aren't that much bigger than they were a year ago now, because we can only make them so big. But you know, maybe it's a good thing that our exports have slowed down a little bit, because our domestic demand is so good here that maybe we need a little more of those top cuts to stay right here in the good old USA for us to put on our own grills. And with exports down a little bit, maybe we'll have enough for that. But let's talk about your board on Tuesday. April live cattle futures up 70 cents at 216.35. June was up 60 cents at 210.20. Your back months on live cattle up 15 to up 60. May feeder cattle up 2 1/4 at 294.02. August was up $1.95 at 296.90. Your back months on feeder cattle up 107 to up 152. Saw contract highs again on Tuesday. And the cash market is just dragging your futures up. The futures like to be volatile and go back and forth, but they're not going up in increments as big as what the cash market is, so they're having to go up every day to try to stay inside of them. And you see that with your index levels, still thinking that the index is going to go over $300 here, and it could happen this week. And with your May feeder cattle sitting at 294, had to get up there pretty good, up 2 1/4 on Tuesday. But your grains, look at them, your corn down 15 cents at 460.5, beans down 11 at 1041. Hard red winter wheat for May down 9.5 cents a bushel at 515 1/4, and just all this moisture there is taking some of the starch out of what little grain market there you have. But fat cattle trade, we did see some fat cattle sell on a direct basis in the 5 area on Tuesday, and it wasn't a weak sister. It was somebody that had some really good cattle. They were talking to a regional packer that really needed some really good cattle, and they sold them a lot higher than what we established just Friday. But 350 head sold in Iowa at $350 dressed. That's $5 over the top price quoted on dress sales last week in the 5 area feeding region. So good job to that guy. And so they always say whenever we sell them $5 lower early in the week, well, that's going to establish the market. Well, maybe this established the market $5 higher, at least on a dress basis there, but didn't see any sales in any of the other states in the 5 area feeding region. But did have our market maker auction market there, the best fat cattle auction in the nation at Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. 1,100 head in overnight, ended up with 1,750 for the fed cattle auction there in Yankton. Conventional fed cattle selling from $215.5 to $220.5. Big time quotes there, $4 higher. Program cattle selling from $214.5 up to $226. Those were steady to $4 higher. Good market there in Yankton, and it's still leading out there, leading the direct trade market out there in the end of If I had a slick load in there, I'd be hard pressed not to take them to Yankton. Box beef cutout values up again. Choice has now been up almost $12 in the last 2 days. So your choice cuts up $5.49 on Tuesday afternoon at $348.26. We knew it had to happen. It's grilling season, guys. Your selects were actually down $1.30 at $323.82, but nobody wants to throw select steaks on the grill. We'll do other things with those. But your slaughter through the first 2 days of the week, only 224,000, catching up a little bit there. That's just 4,000 less than last week and 11,000 less than the same week a year ago. I want to talk to you about our punchy picks of the month. Just like a pickup payment, they come around again, and it's the last day of the month. Time for your punchy picks, and we're going to start out with the Kids Corral. That's sponsored by Great Plains Consulting. They do a good job. They'll even haggle with different outfits for the price of your feedstuffs and help you out there. But get right on the Kids Corral picks. Third place goes to Aldo Maldonado. And he's got 3 kids we want to mention. Remy, that's 8 years old. Miles is 6 years old. And Sage is 4 years old. And they are helping their dad sort there. And I think they've got them cattle outnumbered. So they're going to get that deal done pretty quick. But I thought that was kind of a cute pick there too. Second place goes to Zeke Rodriguez. And Andy, who just turned 5, or is just turning 5 like today, or yesterday, or tomorrow, I mean right in here pretty good. He is helping his grandpa cut a bull there. And Andy's been kind of practicing on his roping. This is the first one he's actually got to help do while they were working cattle, and had one on the end of his rope there. And his horse Alice is one they said is the best $250 they ever spent. You used to hear about $250 horses that turned out, but you don't hardly ever hear about them anymore. But I'm glad that one turned out for him. But first place and the $200 gift certificate to Cavender's Boot City goes to my friend Michael Lobato, and he's from Monte Vista, Colorado. He and I have good visits from time to time. We got a lot of things in common there, and I like Michael, and I'm glad that he's the one that won with his Kids Corral pick. He was at a Brandon here this spring, and near Monte Vista, Colorado, is helping some of his neighbors out there, Brandon. He got to watch an old Coy Johnson there. He's 10 years old, and he was roping and dragging and hanging right in there with his older brothers there and making a hand. And I thought that was a pretty punchy pick there. I'm glad that it was selected for the punchy pick of the month, and congratulations to Michael. Now let's talk about the punchy pick of the month. Of course, that's sponsored by Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma, and Dr. Rodrigo with Fairpiece. But the third place and punchy pick of the month goes to Drew Winder, and he's got a picture of one that got out of the ring at Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas. That is just always good fodder for pictures and videos when you get one outside the ring there. And things just went to hell in Salina since Mason Winter took on. I'm giving him a hard time. I like Mason there, and he's up there. He's doing a good job. That market ain't slipped a bit. So that was a good picture that come from Farmers and Ranchers Livestock there in Salina, Kansas. Good place to market your cattle. Second place in the punchy pick goes to Denny Blowers from Motley, Minnesota. He is fixing a prolapse there, and that's always fun. With no corrals, no horse, no facilities at all. He got her down and used a ratchet strap and a rope on the other end, and got her sewed up there, taken care of. And what's interesting is the cow calved just a few days later and was all right. Of course, he had to give me a little bit of a hard time. He said this is out of a bunch of 80 cows that he bought a couple of years ago out of southwest Missouri. They were in a drought down there, and he said that was my advice to go down there and check out some of those cows because they were fairly worth the money because they were in such a drought. And I don't know if he's been happy with those cows or he hasn't been happy, but I did not put any kind of a prolapse guarantee on those whenever I suggested that somebody might go buy some of those. But your first place winner and your Punchy Pick of the Month contest, and maybe the coolest pictures that I've ever seen, come from Kobe Hunt. This is out in Utah. They were out there with friends and family, and they were pushing some cattle down an old single file sheep herders trail that they had used, that they had set up there probably around the turn of the century, and not this past century, that down in the early 1900s, and they had blasted and done different things to try to get up this steep hillside or cliffside there. And that is just pretty damn punchy, guys. And if you notice, the thing that's so interesting there, if you can make that bigger, the portable pins that they had that little spot to set them up for, they were using those opposite of normal. Normally you're using those to put the cattle in. They put the cattle in the portable pins and then forced them down that trail, because there'd be no other way to get them down it as to throw them off and like a buffalo run or something. But you couldn't do that. But they pushed them down that trail to get down there to summer grazing, and I just thought that was awfully cool. And congratulations to Kobe Hunt for winning the big prize, the big box full of all kinds of swag. He's going to get stuff that I don't even have from National BeefWire, from Feeder Flash. He's going to get some cool swag from Beaver County Stockyards. They've got the neatest stuff out there. And then he gets a whole case of Therapies, the revolutionary product that's scientifically proven. So I hope you guys enjoyed our picks this month for the Punchy Pick of the Month contest, and we'll have another one here just before you know it. But talk about what else is going on. Performance Livestock Analytics. I tell you what, this is software, guys, developed by cattlemen for cattlemen. They've got like 40 reps there, and pretty much all of them have experience in the business. And especially if you are backgrounding or feeding cattle for other people and you want something to look pretty professional, you want to figure some break evens, you want to show what you've been giving those cattle, how they're feeding and all that, you've got to have some software to do that. And this stuff is as easy to use as your cell phone. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood. Your real-time index on DVAuction, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer, it was just about steady late on Tuesday after all your sales. And you're thinking, oh my God, we had that sale there in Unionville, and we had beaver. Yeah, but we had a lot of other commodity type sales there in Oklahoma and Kansas and Missouri and places like that. Just kind of held the thing at bay. But it was $295.02, actually down 8 cents, but it's still getting pretty close to that $300, and I'll sure be glad when it gets there, because I don't like prognosticating, but I did, and I said it would get to $300. I still think it will. Actually, your CME cash feeder cattle index might beat it. The latest available there was $295.14, but it's a day and a half behind, so we'll just have to see what happens. Big sale coming up here you guys don't want to miss is at Callaway Livestock Center in Kingdom City, Missouri. Jack Harrison there, he's doing such a good job of that, especially just since he took over sole ownership and management there. He's doing an excellent job, and he has special cow sales on Thursday every month, and he's got one coming up here Thursday, May the 1st at 6 o'clock p.m. Gonna have about 1,000 head. I'm sure you guys, a lot of you have watched that sale on DVAuction, but he's gonna have an impressive offering here this month, over 1,000 head. He's got 50 fancy black first calf heifer pairs there with February born calves on them. He's got another 100 head of fancy black 3 to 5 year old pairs. He's got 50 fancy black 3 to 6 year old pairs with giant calves on them weighing 300 to 400 pounds. And then you put a bunch of other consignments together, he's going to have like 800 head of fall bred cows there. A lot of them, or most of them young, a lot of them just 3 and 4 year olds there. And a lot of them are got tight calving windows on them. You can sure find something you like there, guys. Don't forget, Thursday, May the 1st, 6 o'clock p.m. on DVAuction.com. Now let's talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri had 2,200 head there, plus another over 1,000 head that they had on their weekly in-house video they do with help from DV Auction there. And they do a really good job. Steve Anderson puts a heck of a deal together, and it's a good way to market your cattle if you've got a load lot and you just want to ship them from your own home or farm there, and but you still want to take advantage of the whole atmosphere of the sale barn, which is good, and it's been working fantastic for them the last few years. Steers and heifers through the ring weighing over 600 pounds were 10 to 15 bucks higher. The steer calves weighing under 6 were 15 to 20 higher. Lighter heifers were selling 4 to 8 bucks higher. They are going to have a special cow sale at West Plains at Ozarks Regional Stockyard on Friday, May the 16th at 5 o'clock in the evening, and they've got one consignment from one consignor of 500 head of fancy pairs. Scares me sometimes when I hear that people are going to get plumb out, but it's a good time to do it, and it's a good time to get in on them, guys. What about Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver, Oklahoma? About 4,200 head for them. They got a federal state market reporter there. Feeders were called 5 to 10 bucks higher. Calves were called 3 to 9 bucks higher, and they had a hell of a sale last week. So that's just how much better it is. Was your National BeefWire stick-out sale of the day. At about 224 head of 6-weight steers. They averaged 646 with a weighted average price of $340.62. 258 head of 7-weight steers averaged 769 at $314.23. 649 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 8 1/4 at $289.36, and 506 head of 9-weight steers averaged 930 at $272.98. Look at your best tested weights of heifers. 422 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 757 at $283.39. 397 head of the 8-weight heifers averaged 838 at $272.71. 306 head of 9-weight heifers averaged 946 at $251.68. Notice the weights were offered were mostly bigger. Cattle have performed outstanding on wheat this year. There was a lot of steers that weighed over 1,000 pounds that weren't on the automated market report, but the ones I told you about earlier, they had 40 head, 1,206 pound feeding steers right off the wheat. They bring $251 or $3,027 per head. Wow. How about some other individual quotes from all around? Santa Teresa livestock auction. They had a threat there, but it hadn't happened yet. Border's still open, and my buddy Tato Medina Wallace is even having Tuesday sales along with his Friday sales, because he doesn't have a lot of pen space there. But on Tuesday he sold 77 head of 597 pound Mexican origin steers. They bring $339, not too shabby. How about 4 state stockyards in Exeter, Missouri? Another DV auction broadcaster there. 82 steers weighed 644 and bring 354 in extreme southwest Missouri there, guys. Go over to Oklahoma. How about Fairview Livestock Commission Company in Fairview, Oklahoma? 65 steers weighed 797 or right at 800 pounds. Bring 309 in Fairview. But of course, the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin no BS top quote for the day. I'm going to give you all those rockin' R cattle out of Unionville livestock market. Just unbelievable. 5 loads of them, 313 head. They averaged 860 pounds with an average price of $324.10. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.